In a world where our friends call us not us united and our enemies call us midnight rain, two dudes must learn to podcast as the Fremen do in order to survive the desert planet of endless content. We don't care how many enemies we have. They'll never be prepared for us. Not us united.
Come on, Barbie, let's go. What did you say? You say it.
I said, come on up and let's go Heimer.
Nice. Come on up and let's go hopping.
Yeah. Barbenheimer weekend is upon us.
Which next week is upcoming. This is your interlude, or your prequel, if you will.
Yeah, this is the appetizer.
In no way connected to Oppenheimer or Barbie.
Yeah. This is the palate cleanser. This is the coffee beans you smell before you get into that next candle. That's what this episode is.
You know, you're always the coffee bean to my fragrance. I don't know where I'm going with this one. I don't know.
Looks like I'm gonna have to do this one by myself.
Yep.
All right.
Well, you finished that beer and you're going solo.
You've always been like a coffee bean to my fragrance.
Yeah.
Because you always need...
I always need a refresher. I always need something that, like, breaks up, you know, makes me humble. Like, the joke... What did I say today? You explain it.
So I was talking about how sometimes caffeine doesn't have a very strong effect on me. And in fact, sometimes I drink a cup of coffee in the morning and I'm able to take a nap.
Cup of coffee.
Oh, Macho Man. R.I.P. But sometimes I'll be able to take a morning nap after coffee.
Yeah.
But I also can drink caffeine at night and go to bed as well. And you thought that was really bizarre and crazy. And was like, oh, what do you do? Just like sit there with like your eyes like jittering, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, no. Like, I can just kind of drink a cup of coffee and then take a nap. And then you're like, oh, yeah, I mean, I do that too. I'm like, wait.
See, the thing is, like, this is it, Nick. This is my toxic trait. Everyone was making fun of you. So I came after you.
Okay.
And I was like, wait a second. Actually, I do exactly
literally
what Nick
said
does.
the exact same thing. And then we're like, oh, look at Nick. And I was like, what? Okay. So I humbled you.
You did, and I appreciate that. And that's why you're the coffee bean to my fragrance. You humble me. You make me the scent that I am today because of who you are as a coffee bean.
This has got to be top 2 intros of our podcast.
And what's the first one? Whatever we talk about Dune?
Probably Dune. That's got to be.
Anytime Dune's mentioned?
It hasn't been in a while.
Yeah.
At least since last episode.
Yeah, probably. Well, we're gonna talk about it today.
Maybe.
No, we are.
Oh, yeah, technically we will. Actually, yeah, we are. You're right.
Because this week, we thought, you know, there are hundreds of movies in the world. And many movies that have come out in the past month that people may be interested in, none of which we have seen. And so we wanted to do a early summer kind of recap. Sure. What have we been watching in the past few months? Shows, TV, books. We're watching a book. Yeah. I love a good book watch.
Yeah, classic.
And we wanted to just talk about a few things. I haven't compiled a list at all, so I'm going to have to look at my phone for a little bit. So I think it would be a good idea if Nick started this.
Okay. Yeah, I got you, big dog. Do you want to be, what category do you want to start in? Do you want to do...
Oh, we want to go categories. Like, you want to do,
like... Oh, yeah, we might as well. Like,
you want to do,
what
like,
books have you been reading?
Yeah.
And we, you know...
Okay, let's go. Let's start out with hot and fresh movies, because we're a movie podcast.
Hot and fresh movies.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
Besides, ones that, like, haven't been on the podcast. Obviously, we saw Barbie and Oppenheimer in the future.
Oh, true. Yeah, we will be.
So if we're coming back in time to do this podcast, we've already seen it.
Movies. This has been kind of a comfort area for me. Like, a lot of it has been rewatches. So I had some family move into town, and we did a little family movie. The classic Meg Ryan, Tom Hanks, You've Got Mail.
Oh, that's a great one.
Classic.
That's a great
it's
one.
It's like a cup of coffee before a nice little nap. You know what I mean?
Hey, I do know what you mean.
You know exactly
Nick,
what I'm talking
I do
about.
know what you mean because
It's
I
a
do the
vibe.
exact same
It's a
thing.
vibe.
Yeah.
It's a vibe. There's just something nice and lovely about that film. Granted, it does fall for the same romantic comedy tropes where you just have to always cheat in order to find love. But
because like they're both dating someone, right?
They kind of are both dating, and then they're like online talking to someone other than their So it's like, it's wrong.
It's like,
So
but they
don't
get
do
away
it.
with it because it's like, oh, but they're not happy in the relationship or something like
yeah.
that. They're like, oh, they paint like the partner as like the
other
worst
people
person
are like
in the world.
crazy, or maybe they're already attracted to somebody else, and they make it all fine in the end or whatever. But it's just like
It's still shady.
Come on,
Yeah.
tales all this time.
Come on, email. This is what
But
email does to people.
The thing that they do well is, what if two business competitors happen to be the ones that fell in love with each other?
Yeah.
And that's just...
And what do you do in a business world when you fall in love?
You give in to love.
You got mail.
You've Got Mail. Wow. So that was one that I've watched recently.
Is that better than Sleepless in Seattle?
Oh, 100%.
Oh,
I'm
hot
not
take, but I agree with you.
I'm not a Sleepless in
Much
Seattle
like coffee
guy.
before nap, I agree with you.
This podcast is just doomed.
It's Dune?
Another... I'm trying to think of like full-on movies that I've like watched.
You seen About Time yet?
No,
Wow.
haven't watched that one recently.
This whole year or?
No, I've watched it this year.
Okay.
Oh yeah, don't you worry, big dog.
I ain't worried. Call me big dog because I ain't worried or whatever. I don't know what you're doing.
Let's see. No, I think that's the most recent movie I can think of. A lot of TV has been consumed.
Okay,
and
so more
books.
TV and books for you.
Yeah, it's been a lot more of the behind the scenes, just at my leisure at home.
Yeah.
So
I will say I'm lowest on TV shows watched.
Interesting.
I've watched very little TV shows. Middle on movies, very high on books right now.
yeah,
We're on a book kick
you
at
are
Nottish United.
Yeah. Oof. I mean, yeah, I'm definitely going as well.
Oh,
but
I'm with
not nearly to the extent that you are.
But
You've read like 20 books in the last 3 days, so.
no, only 3.
Okay. But still, that's like a lot.
I have read. We'll get into that.
Okay.
Movie wise, I'm back on the grind of the top 250.
Okay.
And so I kind of went on a tear through movies that I haven't rated, but I've seen, but it's just been a long time, so I couldn't consider myself rating them.
Yeah.
So Catch Me If You Can is on that list.
Wow.
That's because I've seen it. I just
Another Tom
totally kind of
Hanks.
forgot about it. Yeah, another Tom Hanks movie.
How about that?
Great movie. Incredible movie.
Some would say,
Might be on the top 250. I might put it on there.
yeah, sure. I would agree.
Yeah. Some would say catch this top 250 if you can. And
It does make you wonder how accurate the story is, but regardless, he got away with so much stuff that you're just like, it
Yeah.
probably was that crazy.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
But still, great story.
Oh, yeah. Little Leo DiCap.
Little cap.
Little Amy Adams. Young Amy
Yeah.
Adams.
Mm-hmm.
And Jennifer Garner. No, wait.
No. Wait. No,
Yeah.
she's in it very
Yeah,
briefly.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I did a
Christopher
groundhog.
Walken.
Oh,
That's
the cream.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nick and I
Two mice
had
and the
like
cream. Oh, yeah.
we were making fun of Christopher Walken a lot. Not
Who-
making fun.
who will
We
be
were
showing up in his
enjoying
newest movie, Dune.
in Dune. Oh, let's talk about Dune later.
Okay.
We forget to do that a lot.
Remind me. Yeah.
But there's the line where in that movie he tells the story of like two mice
Fall into a thing of milk.
thing of milk, and one drowns in the milk, but the other one turns so fast that it turns into butter and escapes. And we would just go,
And he's
ow,
the second mouse.
I am the second mouse. Those two mice fall into a bucket of cream.
Excuse me, is this your necklace?
Is this your necklace? I found this. Ow.
Oh.
Ooh-be-doo.
Ooh.
Ooh. I want to be like,
He's
yo.
got charisma. I mean,
Dude,
no
I'd
doubt.
buy a mouse from him. Is that what we're talking about? A necklace? He could
yeah.
he could trick me into thinking I had a necklace.
Sure. What a guy.
Anyways, I believe that he is that second mouse.
I believe so.
And
too.
he climbed out of that movie and into my heart. Hey, I'm on something else, dude.
You're.
I watched Groundhog Day. I've seen it I saw it when I was probably 10 and totally forgot about it.
Mr. Bill Murray.
I'm gonna have it. I think it's good. It's fine. It's good. It's not my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it should be on there.
Yeah.
It's good.
Tom Cruise did it better. Sure.
Tom Cruise as Mr. Groundhog Day?
Yeah. Live, Die, Repeat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a better movie for sure.
Yeah. Same movie though.
Yeah, but one has a lot less aliens.
True.
Considerably less.
And one has a lot of groundhogs.
One has a lot of groundhogs. A few foreign films that I watched that were on the list that I haven't seen. Two by a director called Ingrid Bergman.
Okay.
Is that name is familiar at all?
Mm-mm.
I believe he's a Swedish director. Let's actually look that up real quick.
Okay.
It doesn't say. Okay, cool. Anyways, I watched two movies by him. One called The Seventh Seal. This one I really enjoyed. I don't know if it's on my top 250, but it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
It is an old black and white foreign film, so hey, if that's up your alley. But it's about a knight that comes back from the Crusades, and death is following him.
Oh,
and
wow.
he's playing this chess match with death, but he's just walking through life and meeting other people. But there's always the constant threat of death meeting him in this game. So he knows he's gonna die or death is surrounding him.
Wow.
So it's really interesting, and I liked it a lot.
Okay.
It's a hard sell because it is
Sure.
a foreign movie.
How does one watch this movie?
It's on HBO Max.
Got it.
I think it's good, and I think it's a lot better than this other movie that I watched called Wild Strawberries, which is about this old professor who is going into this town to receive an award. He's gonna retire and stuff, and it's him having flashbacks of his childhood and having some regrets, and the woman that he loved when he was a teenager left him for a different guy, and his son is kind of estranged to him, and so I got what the movie was going for, but I don't think it did it very well for me. There's other movies that do it better. Mm-hmm. So of the two, I would definitely prefer The Seventh Seal more, because that kind of deals with faith and what goodness and joy and what it life and stuff like that. So
Sick.
anyways, I think that's all for movies wise. So if you're feeling up for an adventure,
Dang.
either Nick or audience members,
The next one on my list is I'm gonna find time and I'm gonna watch Hereditary.
you are.
I am.
Why the
I just need to know.
call for that?
I just need to know why.
But this is from the director of one of your probably most uncomfortable cinema or
100%.
movie experiences,
100%.
Midsommar.
I know, but I need to know that I did the gauntlet.
I will say Midsommar is much more uncomfortable.
Sweet.
So I think you've done it.
I've gone there, so it's
Yeah.
fine.
Because there are more uncomfortable moments in Midsommar, where Hereditary is more
Yeah.
and then kind of stuff is normal, but oh,
And then you throw up, and then it's fine.
and then yeah.
Okay,
there's one scene that I think is brief moment that is pretty terrifying.
Sure.
But other than that, you're fine.
I just need to know, man.
Is that on anything? I own that movie.
Oh.
If you don't want to spend a pretty penny, I can give
Okay.
that to you.
All right. I might take you up on that. I'm just going to pause
Don't even
it
trip,
every-
dog.
You're crazy. All right.
Only crazy people say that.
No.
Any other movies that you're either looking forward to watching, or either in cinemas or otherwise? Obviously, we got Barbie and Oppenheimer. Barbenheimer.
I just saw the trailer to the next Hercule Poirot installment.
They're doing that?
A Haunting in Venice.
Oh,
And they are leaning hard into the horror side of
very
it.
cool.
Looks terrifying and awesome.
Hot, quick thoughts on Death on the Nile.
Not as good as Orient
Express. Definitely agree.
But I have enjoyed both of those. And when I saw they were going to Venice vibe, to it's a haunting, so it's going to be more spook, and just like how his mind will have to work against like there will be things that probably seem supernatural, but they're not.
Yeah.
But how does he like debunk
Grasp
it?
with that, yeah.
Michelle Yao
Mm.
is in this. Tina Fey. It's like a weird
Wow,
cast.
Tina Fey. I don't think I've seen Tina Fey in something in a long time.
I'm trying to think of who else I saw in the trailer. But I was just like, yeah, sure, whatever. I'm in.
Yeah, cool. That sounds neat.
Looks good. September.
Wow, that's soon. I did not know that was coming out.
I heard of it being announced, but I didn't think it got filmed that fast. So
Well, now there's a writer's strike
Well, yeah.
and the actor's strike.
yeah, we're not gonna have a podcast next year.
Well, we'll just have to go back and watch older movies.
Yeah, we'll just have to do all the movies. Because nothing. Well, we'll see. I think there's still enough
Everything's
of a
on pause.
backlog.
Yeah,
of
for the next
COVID
few
movies,
months,
we'll be okay. But like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Everything that's filmed and like already slated to release is like fine.
And there are some people that will still continue. So, ironically, I don't mean to bring this up, but there is a Dune show that's getting made that's in the universe of the Denis Villeneuve. It's a Bene Gesserit
Dune.
sisterhood.
Oh, Dune. Okay.
And most of them are British actors, and
Oh,
they
so
are
it's
not
different.
a part of the union that's on
Got
strike.
it.
So HBO's just like, we've only got like 3 actors that are involved in these strikes, so F it, we're still making the show.
Wow.
So there are certain...
Okay, I didn't know if that was a Hollywood association where like
So
even foreign
the
actors would have to
SAGs
go through
or
it.
whatever.
Yes.
The Screen Actors
Guild.
Guild is American, and
Got
so
it,
there's
just
a
American.
different. Well,
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
you can be a part of
Right.
other
but,
ones,
yeah.
but I believe there's a union in.
So obviously,
places.
foreign like Korea can still make their movies, and India and,
Yeah.
and whatever. Okay,
But
so,
if they're doing
partnering
them here or something, I don't
well,
know. how
they
that
might not
works.
have writers. I don't know. I guess
Yeah.
who knows what's going on there. But
It just depends, because some of it could have already been written. Like Deadpool 3 was actually still being filmed after the writers went on strike.
Right.
But they were told you can't
No
change anything
improv.
from the script.
yeah,
Which is kind of like Ryan Reynolds' like whole
whole
thing.
thing. Yeah.
So we'll see. The other thing I'm really sad about is that like Stranger Things 5 probably won't start now. Like they were writing, and then the Duffer Brothers were just like, yeah, out of solidarity, we'll stop writing. And it's like, no, like keep writing, like keep doing. But I get it. Like,
Hey,
you gotta do what you gotta do.
I think I'm with them.
Stick it to the man.
Yeah.
I heard something ridiculous. Like if every CEO of every movie production company just took like a 2% hit, everything would be fine.
Yo, that's 100%
It's like,
right.
Oh gosh.
Did you hear? I'm definitely on the side of like, hey, people should get paid.
Yeah, for sure.
And there was like a quote from an anonymous like company head. Did you hear about? He was like, all we need to do is like wait them out, like the actors or the writers, and wait till they can't pay rent anymore, and then they'll come crawling back to us.
Nice.
And it's like, that's the scummiest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. It really sucks for the people who like aren't like Matt Damon or like somebody who like clearly has
Like enough money. Yeah.
that they're going to like ride the storm out. It sucks for like the person who's
Everyday
like,
life.
I almost landed a TV gig and this is my first breakout and I'm still eating
Yeah.
ramen and now everyone's on strike and it's like I need to do this.
Yeah.
But I'm also not going to make money for like 6 months. It's
Yeah,
like, that's
like your
terrifying.
fourth lead on like a
Yeah.
CW show,
Or you're
something.
about to make like the next Office, and you might be a breakout star.
Yeah.
You just can't film yet.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if you had just had this one show, then you'd be fine. You know.
But like, I mean, I think it's understandable because the companies were forcing contracts for a lot of background actors that were like, if we will give you $100 if we scan your likeness and we can use it forever.
Yeah, it's
And
wild.
like that's not
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Well, and AI is getting a little crazy now. I saw that the new intro to Marvel's Secret Invasion wasn't even made by a human being. It was literally just AI art.
Nah.
if you look at it, it's not Samuel Jackson. It's like a version of
Yeah,
him.
it's all kind of like
blurred and stuff.
Yeah,
And that's what they said. They literally said that they had an AI do it.
I don't like that.
I don't like it either.
I don't like it at all.
We're in a scary place, man.
Mm-mm.
But
Have you seen any transitioning into TV shows? Have you
Yes.
seen any of Secret Invasion?
I did watch the first episode.
And
Quite the nail biter.
really,
It was okay.
okay.
I mean, it's leaning into like your Winter Soldier vibes.
Mhm.
You know, nothing feels super cosmic yet,
Mm.
even though scrolls are part of it.
Any big revelations?
There is a particular death in the first episode, but I don't know how that pans out.
Interesting.
Khaleesi from Game of Thrones is in it now.
Good.
Mother
Mother of Dragons.
of Dragons. The guy who's gonna play Bob Marley in the new Bob Marley movie is like the main antagonist
Oh,
of
Bob
the show.
Marley, nice.
It's not really Bob Marley.
Oh,
but,
weird.
yeah, it's
Okay.
wild.
Be weird to bring him back for that.
I don't know, man. Like, we're in a weird spot where I kind of like the just short-lived. Like, Loki was super fun for me 2 years ago.
Yes.
So I'm excited for that again. But I'm also just like, what's the plan? Because, like, you've had more screen time than
Yeah.
the entire MCU thus far in the last, like, 3 years.
And
And I still have no idea what's happening. It's
Mhm.
wild. So,
Yeah, and obviously they've talked about slowing down and doing
Yeah.
all that, but like, it's interesting to do a Secret Invasion now. It feels like a weird time to do it. We're
yeah,
like,
it
oh,
could have been one big movie event, too,
Mhm.
probably,
Mhm.
you know? Or, like, the next two-parter Avengers, where it's
Yeah.
like, oh, we found out that half of us are...
yeah, this feels like a big deal.
Mm-hmm. And I think they're doing a smaller scale, and I think you just have to, like, you know, get rid of your expectations for what the comic that it's technically named after.
Right.
I just think that they're so closely tied, Skrulls and that story, that they had to call it Secret Invasion, but they could have just said, like, the Skrull War or
Sure.
like the Skrull something.
Just
and
for the
that
name of
would've
it. I
been
mean, like with
fine.
Age of Ultron, stuff like
Yeah.
that, or like even like what Dark Phoenix for an X-Men thing,
Mhm.
where it's like this multi-year saga in the comic
Yeah.
book. It's like, hey, what about a weekend?
Yeah, what about a weekend? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'll probably eventually watch the rest of it, but right now I'm not like. I can honestly say like the top 5 movies I'm most excited for the rest of the year have nothing to do with Marvel.
Oh yeah.
For
Is,
sure.
is someone coming out?
I feel
Something's
like
coming out, right?
Marvels maybe, or maybe that's
The
the beginning
Marvels?
of next year.
Yeah, that
I
sounds
can't
right.
remember.
That sounds right.
So I mean, Loki. I think I'm excited.
I'm excited for Loki for sure. I think Loki's the last Marvel property I was like genuinely, without any like reserves, had a good time.
Oh, for sure. I was very surprised how much I liked it. So,
Mhm.
Deadpool could be fun too.
Yeah.
Now that it's actually in the MCU, that could be good. But until we get to like the big, it almost feels like there won't be any like true plot development until you get to the next Avengers movie, which is not how it used to be. It was like
Little
the
spurts
Avengers
of things.
were obviously big chunks of plot, but then like Captain America like took the baton for 5 years
Mhm.
and did all of it while everyone had side quests and he was the main quest, and then it was the next Avengers, you know, or whatever. But it doesn't feel like anyone's like carrying the banner. It's just kind of
Right.
like these people have met these people.
And
Got
these
it.
people exist.
These people kind of met these people, but no one's like, hey, we got to get together because Shang-Chi has the 10 rings and we found out that that's related to this and that's why this thing is happening. And Kang, what's that about? And it's like, it's just all happening simultaneously, but no one's saying like what's actually happening. Like what's the... So I'm curious to see how it all pans out.
You're still on for the ride?
Oh yeah. Like if we get to Kang Dynasty and it's just like, oh, they did it, then I'll eat all of my work.
Num num num.
There it is. I'll be like, masterpiece.
Yeah.
But I think no matter what they end on, I think I'll still say the road to that was definitely worse.
Oh,
than
no
the
matter
road to,
what.
like Infinity War.
I mean, no
for
matter
sure.
what, like the road is already bad and it's already choppy at
Yep.
least. I did rewatch Thor: Love and Thunder the other day.
And
Liked it more than I remember.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah.
You son of a gun. Guess who got crucified for liking that movie? Not me, but kind of.
I still don't think it's the best.
I didn't say it was the best.
Okay. It's no coffee before nap, but
Michael, you, man. You're about one button away from just...
Nick, I know how to push
push.
every button on there. Speaking of buttons,
Yeah,
what
okay.
button do we go to talk about the next TV show you've been watching?
Yeah, so I've got a few. I finished Silo on Apple TV. It was excellent. Very true to the books.
And
that
you
it's
read the
based off.
book while watching the show? Did you finish the book before?
So I watched episode 1. And I was like, definitely going to read the book. Then I read most of the book. And then the show was actually going much slower than the book did. And I was like, oh, wait, where is the show going to, like, get to? And it turns out the show only makes it about halfway to, like, 2/3 of the way through the first book.
Does that feel like a natural breaking point, or is there like
There's-
enough that they put into the TV show that's different? And
Yeah, there's a huge
expanding?
reveal that I get why they decided to leave it as the season-ending cliffhanger. But I think it would have been a bold move to do the whole... I think they could have done the whole first season in the amount of episodes that they did. Because there was a few where it was just like, man, what are they doing? Like, there was a couple middle episodes where it just felt like no big moves could happen yet, but it wasn't the finale yet either. So they had to kind of wait. But, no, it's interesting. I like it a lot. I have officially done... I've probably averaged about an episode a day, but I, like, really only watch, like, 4, and then I don't watch it for a couple days, but
Sure,
I've been
but
doing One Piece.
yes,
The famous long-running anime. And it's good. It's very... how do I want to put it? I grew up watching some Dragon Ball Z, and it kind of feels like it just falls in that realm of, like, this is just your bread and butter of, like, anime adventure stuff. And so, like, it feels like a boss that we have to fight for 10 episodes, and then we kind of move on, have some character development, and then a boss that we fight for 10 episodes. And I'm sure it becomes much more than that because it's been running.
I mean, like it kind of like
forever.
set the formula for that, probably.
Yeah, but
you know?
I get why. Yeah,
It's-
like I wish I would have watched it as a kid, so then I don't have to have like a backlog of 1,000 episodes.
Yeah.
But no, it's good so far. I like it. I've officially gotten to the point where like the team is assembled and they're setting sail for the Grand Line.
Wow.
So it's a good time.
I hope that doesn't take 900 episodes for them to do whatever they need to do.
No, I think, oh man, it's hard to say because they're not afraid to just drop in people. And I feel like they must have an idea. The creator of this wanted to just sprinkle breadcrumbs and be like, I'll come back to that maybe in a couple episodes. Maybe it'll be a couple hundred episodes. But you just need to know that there's just dangers.
There's something
lurking
else going
everywhere,
on,
And
yeah.
there's just a lot of things. It doesn't feel too much like I've got to level up quite yet, where they like get a new object that makes them like super powerful. But I will say, like, when they're fighting, it definitely feels, it falls for the like, friendship will be the reason why we win.
Nice,
and
good.
then they like can kick a little harder because they're friends.
Because they believe in themselves.
Friendship.
Sure.
And I mean, hey, I'll be honest. I feel invincible when I'm doing the podcast with you.
That's
so
true.
there is some
Yeah.
power to friendship
yeah.
for sure.
I believe in that.
So I feel like I could definitely do some, as Monkey D. Luffy would say, I would do a gum pistol and punch somebody in the face. In context, makes perfect sense what I just said. Not in context, you don't know what the hell I just said.
I would do a gum pistol. Do you find it like insurmountable to watch 1,000 episodes?
No, but I am scared. It feels like if I go too fast, people are going to look at me and they're like, "Have you showered?"
Sure.
But if I go too slow, I feel like I'm
Never
not
gonna
quite
catch
keeping up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna say. I mean, it feels daunting, but the only way to run a marathon is forward.
Amen.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
This is your own marathon.
that's right.
I respect it. I respect it a lot.
Thank you.
That's
I'm glad you respect me. I think it's the first time you ever said that to me.
yeah. That's true.
Yep.
It is. Yeah. It is interesting. It is just like when do you get on? When do you like take the plunge and say, I'm gonna watch this, and I commend you for doing that, and I commend you for like sticking to it at a good pace.
Thank you. I will say I'll probably read less books because of it, because I think whenever I'm just like chipping away at something, I'll just kind of go to it instead. But I am reading some books, and that's actually like slowed down the One Piece.
Oh, okay.
One Piece right now basically is like when I'm doing dishes and Darcy and I are just having like lunch and breakfast.
You throw
or something,
on,
I'll throw it on.
And it's 20 minutes, like
Yeah, and because there's so many, I know I can kind of tune out. And I've already looked up like here's the 12 episodes you can skip from like 90 to like 120 or whatever.
Do you kind of like throw those ones on in the background, or do you skip them?
I haven't skipped any episodes yet. I think I am just going to try to go through them, but if I start to get a feel that like, we're like on a side quest to like find cookies or something, I'll just be like, nah. Like,
yeah, there's definitely the filler episodes that you could skip.
There will definitely be some things, and so I've looked up those, and it's actually a pretty low percentage. I think it's only about, I think they said it's less than 100 episodes.
I mean, that's 10%.
Filler, so
that's like I was watching Naruto for a long time, and that was like 30-40% filler episodes.
Yeah.
It's like one of the higher ones, so 10% ain't bad.
no, but it's a lot,
Which is crazy.
episodes,
Yeah, that's
but
crazy.
it's just little arcs that they're like, hey, you can like, or they'll be like, people have just done the math for you, but it's like this isn't even in the manga, so like don't even worry about it. It's like not canon.
Got it.
This is TV canon, so still watch it, because there is something that's a little different to the TV canon, and then here's just like completely filler, like it's just not even worth it. So I haven't decided if I'm going to skip them or not. If I feel like I'm super behind and want to just like get back to it, then maybe I will, because I know I'm not going to like miss anything. And I have confirmed with our friend Brad. He's like, yeah, you can totally skip them.
Yeah.
And like as a true fan, he would be like the one to be like, no, you should just complete it.
Yeah.
And there's something of like pride or something to be like, hey, I've watched all of them. But
some of them aren't necessary.
it's definitely not going to be done in a year. I think it's going to be maybe 18 months to 2 years probably, because they're still releasing weekly.
Yeah, are they is it weekly, like 52 weeks, or do they have a break?
They might have like a holiday break, but it seems like they're releasing like 40 some episodes a year.
So there's not even like a fall season and then they stop.
I don't think so,
That's
but
incredible.
I could be wrong.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and there's a couple movies, but I think I'm just going to stick with the show and just gut it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then the last show I will say that has been the most enjoyable recently is The Bear.
Yes, chef.
Finished season 1, incredible. And season 2 has been set up and has started. It's insane.
Just as well.
It's great.
Can you tell me what the show's about? I have no idea. All I get is like from you of like something about their chefs.
Yep.
And
so main character is Carmy, is his name. He works at what they're calling the best restaurant in like the world, essentially. He's like the guy that plates everything at the end.
Oh, wow.
But there's still like a guy above him that like critiques him.
The plater.
But yeah, he basically worked his way up and got into the best place ever. His brother dies. who owned this Chicago like beef sandwich place.
Nice.
Actually, he like killed himself, but in doing so, he left in the will. Carmi gets to own the restaurant.
Oh, so
Catches,
what do you do?
He was never allowed to work. Like growing up, when they were like best buds, he wanted to work with him, and he just never. His brother Michael would never like let him work with him. Like I don't know if it was like I'm still trying to figure it out. I don't know if there's like that Goodwill Hunting vibe to it, where it's like, hey, you're better than this. Like don't
come here.
I would love
But
to
then
not
why
never
put him in
see
the
you
will,
again.
huh?
But what? Yeah. And so there's some like mystery there that's set up right from the beginning. And so he's like this Michelin star chef trying to work at like a just a dump of a place and try to turn it around because it's like in debt like crazy and all this stuff. And so you're just going crazy. And there's characters come in and go, and he gets like a nice sous chef and he tries to like turn this whole thing around. It's pretty sick.
Cool. That sounds right up my alley, man.
Yeah,
It's
it's excellent. It's FX, so it's like they get to say whatever they want, but there's not like super graphic content either. So it's solid.
cool. The Bear. I've heard only good things, and it won a few.
Surprising,
It
yeah.
won a few Emmys or something.
Yeah, I think acting for
Yeah.
sure. But no, season 2, man, I'm really excited to see where this goes. Kate and I are really in love. Episode 7, I'm not going to tell you a single thing about it, but you'll know when you know.
Okay.
Episode
When you know,
7.
you know. How many episodes are there in the season?
First season's 8.
8.
So the penultimate episode.
Penultimate
It will, I want you to text me after because it's a treat.
Would this be a show? Because I get a good amount of time, like, you know, on my break or whatever. Can I watch this on my phone? Would that ruin the experience? Okay.
Just as long as you have like good headphones. I think the the music they play is excellent.
Okay.
But no, there's nothing like cinematically, like you need surround sound, a big screen. No,
Okay.
you can totally ship it. Yeah.
Cool.
It's just everyone's called cousin, and you just say herd chef.
Herd chef. That's what it was.
Herd chef.
chef. Yes, cousin. Herd chef.
Yes, cousin. Corner. Whenever you're coming around the corner.
Oh,
or
corner?
behind.
Yeah, I got that. I watch
so you
Hell's
don't
Kitchen.
step-
I know
yep.
what's going on.
Behind. It's worked wonders in our kitchen. So, cannot recommend it enough. It's like the dark Ted Lasso.
Whoa. Wow. That's
kind of
that paints a perfect picture.
That's kind of what I would draw it as.
Interesting. Yeah.
It's like the grimy Chicago Ted Lasso.
Well, Chicago is the grimy London, if you will. I think.
Sure. Yeah. It's Gotham.
Going to only one of those cities before in my life.
Oh, that's a movie I watched recently, The Dark Knight.
Oh, great movie.
Great to be back. It was awesome.
How does it compare to the Batman?
I laugh a lot more when I watch The Dark Knight.
Sure.
I think it's just iconically
It is what it is, man.
perfect in that I don't know, man. The Dark Knight's something special. It's Christopher Nolan, so it's just like expertly crafted and made and beautifully shot.
It's the Oppenheimer of superhero movies.
Yeah, man, dude. Oppenheimer, man. The hype is real. But there's also just that level of Bale just went for it, man.
Yeah.
He just decided to do that, and when you're watching it in the theater for the first time, you're like, dude, this is freaking badass. And it still is badass. It's also hilarious.
Yeah.
The Batman does not make me laugh.
Yeah, it's so funny that like the Dark Knight can be memed,
Yeah.
and still be one of the greatest movies of all time.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I think the Joker, and maybe that's part of the reason why it's so ridiculous sometimes and uncomfortable that sometimes laughing is like
the only way
to get out of it, you know? There's that scene where he meets with Harvey, who's now officially become like Two-Face, and he's dressed up like a nurse and he's got like the wig and everything, and he's like, hi, and you're like, you just killed his girlfriend by exploding her, and you're like,
I just want to talk to you.
I just want to talk to you,
Yeah.
and you're just like, my only response is to kind of be like, what the heck, you know? But that's like, that's
it.
That's his point.
Mhm.
Like, he has no plan. So you almost like can't blame him for the stuff that it's like, it's bizarre, dude.
It's great.
And I
Great
love
movie.
the contrast of Batman can't do what criminals do because that's what separates him.
Mm-hmm.
But he actually turns that on its head and he goes, but Batman can become whatever he needs to become in order to make Gotham like right, and would rather have them live with a lie that would bring justice than, you know, tell them the truth, which was that their White Knight had fallen and became Two-Face.
White Knight can be whatever whatever Gotham needs it to be.
Dude, that part gets me going every time.
Yeah. Oh, the end of it?
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. I'll be whatever Gotham needs me to be.
people. That's who I can be.
That's who I can be. I can do this. So
that little kid who's like almost been like shot is just like, "What's the matter, Dad?" He's like,
everything's cool, right?
Batman.
Batman, he's
He's
gonna
the hero
save
we
us.
deserve, but not the one we need right now.
Oh, it's incredible,
Yeah.
dude! The end of that movie, one of the best
Iconic.
endings in cinema.
Iconic.
Oh man,
It's awesome because it falls right into it, and it's just so well written that when they literally flip Harvey Dent back to the like
Good face.
the good face. It's like,
that should be the cheesiest moment in any other movie,
Of
but
course.
it works.
Yeah.
It works, man.
and like there's also just some really incredible scenes too where Batman like grabs oh shoot, what's his name? He's like the gang member.
Falcone.
No, Falcone's from the first one. He's like the head, but he's like the next down. Maroni, I think was his name.
Maroni.
He gets him in the club, and he's like, "You think a fall from this height's gonna kill me? It's not." He goes, "I'm planning on it." Just drops him, and you just hear his knees buckle. And he's like, "Oh gosh!" Like, it's brutal, but his like timing is terrifying and just dude.
Comedic.
Yeah, I don't get it.
It works,
It's so
man.
weird. I love it. And I guess it makes sense because he's dressed as a bat in a city full of crime. I mean, there's something weird about that,
Yeah.
you know? And Joker, you know, talks down to all the criminals like that. It's like, you're scared. And you won't have your group therapy sessions, like, at night anymore. You have to do it in the daytime. Like, you're all scared. And what a wonderful film.
Incredible.
Anyway.
Incredible.
Sorry I had to go backwards.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. I will talk about The Dark Knight any day or night.
Tangerine.
Yeah,
That's it now,
yeah,
too. Tangerine.
There's every once in a while there's just like stuff that we make fun of in things, and I think it's only between us though.
Yeah.
And one of them is tangerine. Those big
Size of a
the
tangerine.
size of a tangerine. He pulled out a diamond. The size.
You spot in Gotham.
Some men just want to watch the world burn, like a tangerine on fire.
That's pretty close.
Yeah, that's basically
pretty-
what they
that's
said.
pretty close.
Call me Michael. Call me Michael Caine.
My favorite's when
My name is Michael Caine.
I think he's talking about Harvey Dent, and it's like such a sad moment. And he's just like, Harvey Dent could have saved everyone, but that murder psychopath blew him half to hell, or something like that.
That murder psychopath blew him half to hell.
And I'm just like, dang. Ah, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
No, tangerine.
The one thing I do before every watch, or right at the beginning of the watch, is I always try to guess which window on the building is gonna get blown out for the burglars. So if you ever watch it, it zooms in, it's like, dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. And I always guess the wrong window, but I think I've kind of figured it out now. But my brother Griffin's still just like, oh, I know every time, dude. I've watched this too many times. Like, he knows the window. So anyway,
I knew a window. Man,
iconic film.
never had to guess that.
I think I will say overall I enjoy the Batman more than the Dark Knight. But I think the Dark Knight
Is a better movie? Just
for
like
for the masses.
Yeah.
I think it might. I
think
don't know, man.
I think
they're both really good.
the Batman has the best Batman in it and Batman moments, but the Dark Knight's just
Yeah.
like a
Can
better
they-
constructed movie.
Are they both they're both great for different reasons.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
But I never, in my wildest, I love Rob Pattinson. I love all of the stuff he's ever done. Still, to this day, when he was cast, I'm just like, what?
I thought you were Robbie Bat.
Oh, I mean, like,
Defender.
I just had no idea that was even possible.
Yeah.
And now I'm like in a world where I'm like, who else can do it? He nailed it.
He's Robbie Pat the
Yeah.
Bat.
I mean, Ben Affleck was great too.
Yeah. But his name doesn't rhyme with Bat, so.
Batfleck.
Dang it. Robbie Pat the Bat.
Robbie Pat the Bat.
And Batfleck.
Christian Bale the
Christian
the,
Bat.
The Bat.
Christian
and
Bale,
then-
the ale to my Bale
Okay.
Bat. Yeah.
All right. What TV
Anyways.
shows have you been watching? None.
Not really. We've been watching Lost. I think I've talked about that
Oh,
before. Yeah, we've been.
Have you finally done a full watch through with her before? Or this
This is the first watch through.
So lovely.
Yeah, this is a. There are This is just a memory thing with people. You remember the beginning and the end of stuff. I remember the beginning of the season, beginning of the show. I
So it's
remember
all
the end of the
kinda
show
new.
because all the middle stuff in the middle. Like I kind of remember what's going on
Yeah.
as it's happening. I'm like, we'll be watching it, and something will happen, and we'll turn to like, do you remember what happened? So I just remember what happened. It's like, yeah, I also
it has to
just
be,
remember
like,
what
right,
happened.
yeah.
Yeah. Like it's like 5 minutes before. But there's even stuff that's like, I forgot that happened.
Yeah.
Just because, I watched
Yeah.
it. And
It
you watch
decays
7
after a while,
episodes,
yeah.
7 seasons of the show in middle school. So it's fun to watch through again. It's nice.
Excellent.
That's really the only show I've been watching.
Dang.
Yeah.
You got your Ted Lasso out of the way, and
Mhm.
now it's just,
Now it's all lost.
Lost.
I'm lost in the sauce of Lost.
I get it.
Mm.
I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Never watched it, though.
Really?
Never watched it.
Wow.
My first dose of J.J. Abrams was, I think,
Was it the Star Trek?
Cloverfield.
Oh.
That was his, right? The
Yeah.
first one?
Yeah.
And then Star Trek.
Yeah.
Oh, love the new Star Trek. I don't care who comes after me.
I like the new Star Trek. The 2009, I think it was. That first
Chris
the
Pine?
reboot, very good. Second one, not very good. Third one, all right.
Second one's great. Benedict Cumberbatch. Sure.
Okay, we can move on. So that's it for TV shows for me. Do you have any other TV shows?
No.
Cool. Let's move on to a little, much less talked about section of the podcast. Books.
Books.
And one thing that you mentioned on the interview in A Night with Nicholas Krusich was that you want to read more.
Yeah.
Sounds like you've been reading a lot more.
I have. So I've read the first Silo series book, which was Wool. I think this year I started reading the Unsold series.
That's right. How are you doing on that?
I read the first one.
Cool. Did you start the second one?
I started the second one,
That's where I fell off.
and then I stopped because I wanted to read.
Something else.
I think that's when I got into the Silo thing.
Uh-huh.
But then I saw the Dune trailer, and I was like, Daddy misses the
And then-
cinnamon sand.
And then I get a text that is just a picture of Children of Dune, the third book in the movie, and it's just like,
I'm here for it.
we doing it?
Yep.
And I was like, okay, guess I'm behind the book too.
So yeah, I'm like a quarter of the way through Children of Dune. And then I got word that Impact Winter season 2 dropped, and Impact Winter 1 was one of the best reading experiences I ever had.
Wow. I don't know if I think we talked about it on this
I
podcast.
feel like we did too, but I don't know if it was its full episode.
No, not a full episode. It might have been during our fall wrap up.
Yeah, when we were just kind of talking about.
But if
what
you
we
want to
wanted
give a brief summary of Impact Winter, the Audible original.
Well, so this was super cool because I heard about it. The guy who wrote it did this show called Carnival Row, which is an Amazon Prime show with Orlando Bloom and some other folk.
Is it Cara Delevingne?
Yes, that one. And I liked the first season of that show, so I was like, I'll check this out. It's got vampires in it. Definitely gonna check it out. The lead character is named Darcy, and it dropped like within days of her birth.
Like 2 days after or
something like that. Yeah, it was crazy. So I was like, I'm just predestined to read this book.
Whoa.
It's like prophecy, which is a theme in the book. And the whole premise is that a meteor strike or some sort of natural phenomenon caused a bunch of stuff to go into the air that blocked out the sun, essentially. So like our world
covered in smoke,
and with the sun being blocked out, like kind of like an endless winter started. But one of the things that humanity wasn't aware of was that there was actually a infestation of vampires that existed that always had to kind of effectively
live underground,
and now they don't have to, and so they kind of started to rule all of the lands. And Darcy, 7 years into this, is like one of the head vampire hunters, and chaos ensues. Something happens.
Something changes.
Some other things happen to other people and other things.
Man, that sounds like
people.
a really good plot.
And I'm not going to spoil anything, but then season 2 dropped like almost a year and a half later, and here we are.
And this is more than like, it is an audiobook, but it is
Yes.
more like a performance. Like there are like sound
Yes.
effects and kind of like, it is like acting.
Yeah, a really well-known version of this is the Neil Gaiman Sandman.
Yeah.
Where they got a bunch of actors to do it, but it's almost like you're listening to a stage play.
Yeah.
Where you can hear them walking into a room, there's sound effects, and it's not read like a book, it's read like a play.
Yeah, it's like a
where
screenplay.
the characters talk to each other, and it's not Darcy said, blah, 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 blah.
It's just Darcy, the character
talking.
Darcy, yeah.
So, it's nice because you kind of like find yourself kind of getting sucked in, and they do some nice sound effects. And I will say, like, one of the greatest things that they have done is how the supernatural effects of like vampires, of like maybe them like having an effect over you. Their voice might sound different, and you can kind of like hear how that's having
Affecting
an effect.
you, yeah.
Kind of similar to like in Dune when they use the voice and like changes the whatever. But yeah, super good.
Yeah.
2, I'm about halfway through
Wow. All
season
right.
2.
Right on.
And
Good stuff.
let's just say the series still bites.
Why?
Still hasn't lost its bite.
Oh. I'm waiting so long because I'm pulling a curtain now. Confetti's falling from the ceiling because
The
that
only
was the
thing that
best joke
sucks
of the
about
podcast.
this series are the vampires.
Whoa, it's an even better
that
joke.
drink blood.
Oh, you have now won best joke of the podcast.
Thank you.
I will offer you this award.
But then after Impact Winter, I'll finish Children of Dune, and then I might go backwards and I'll start reading. I've been inspired by what you're about with reading all of the books you own, because I've got a few where I'm like, oh, I really should just take the plunge.
What do you mean go backwards?
I just meant like I've had a bunch that I was like, I'm gonna do this next, and then I just like leapfrog. I'm like, I'm doing Children of Dune,
Yeah.
and I leapfrog, and I'm doing Impact Winter 2. I really want to do my Wheel of Time series.
Yes.
I really want to do the Jade War Saga
Yes.
trilogy that I have. So I do want to go back and read those at some point. So,
I actually had a question. I had a question for you.
do you want to borrow that book?
One of them, maybe. I
Oh.
was gonna say, if you like had a preference or like a inkling of what series I should jump into, would you like, or would you suggest that I would go into? Like, would you like? I don't know how I'm wording this. Anyways, like, I want to get back into Wheel of Time, but I also want to do Silo, and I also want to do the Jade War thing that you have. So, like,
Yeah.
of the three, like, do you have a, like, leaning towards, like, I would recommend this to you more? Obviously, you haven't read Jade War, I don't think, or Jade
Yeah.
City, or whatever it's called. Because those three, I'm like, oh, Nick has,
Yeah.
experience in some of these. of those three like series, which would you kind of
I think I would
recommend?
I would probably do one of the trilogies. I would either do the Silo trilogy or the Jade trilogy, because I think the Wheel of Time
It's pretty big.
is kind of like you're going to be there for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would hang on for that until you're like ready for that to be like at least the next like 3 books to 4 books to 12 books that you're going to read.
Because you read the first one?
I started the first one. Again, I'm notorious for like starting a book and then I'm like, Children of the Dune sounds good. And then I just like stop. I think it's also just being like a parent where I'm like, hey, I had a lot of time to read a book yesterday. And now my entire day is like completely changed today. And then my brain like resets and I forget that I was like reading it. And then I just started another one. So it's like, I'm just a little crazy.
It breaks you.
It does.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would probably go with the small bites first and then work, because I'd even be willing, and maybe we could be accountability buddies on Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
So maybe once you're ready, maybe we could be like, all right,
Okay.
block off the
We're
schedule.
doing Wheel
We're
of Time.
reading. We have this deadline to read book 1 or
Ooh,
whatever.
I like that a lot.
Okay.
Would you want to do that with Jade City?
I could probably do that with Jade City.
Because that's a nice trilogy to get into it. Because I'm also up to read Silo. Mm-hmm. I'm interested in that as well.
Yeah. The only reason I haven't jumped right into book 2 is that I found out that it's a prequel.
Oh.
And then you continue on the story from 1 in the book 3.
Interesting.
So I like, it kind of took the gas out for a little bit, because it's like, oh man, that's a big ending. And now we're going to spend a whole book not talking about the ending.
Weird.
And then we'll go back into the ending.
Interesting.
So I kind of was like, So no, I'm down. I'm honestly down for either. If I have somebody doing it with me, then there kind of allows for an added incentive. So
Okay. We'll think about it. We'll run that by. But yeah, as you mentioned, I just saw my bookshelf and I started doing Audible a long time ago, but I let other people kind of get onto my account. And so most of the time I don't use my credits because I like reading a bunch of other stuff. And so there's just been years and years and years of like family members getting books that I just haven't read. And so it's just been stacking up and stacking up. I'm like, I haven't read a majority of my catalog of books that I own. So I just felt like I wanted to, like, as a completionist, to just like look at a bookshelf and be like, yes, I've read all these, you know? And so that's just been my goal. I've started it this year as like to like read every book that I own. And so that's what I've been doing.
all right.
And obviously there's been a few books that have been added to the collection. But I've been keeping up with reading ahead of the books that like I buy. I'm not in the negative. I'm not in the red of like I bought too many books, but I haven't read enough books.
Sure.
So
I get you.
and with my work, I have a lot of time that I can listen to books. So I've been listening to a lot more books than actually like reading books. And so I can get a few like good hours reading a day. Because of like it is kind of like repetitive tasks that I'm doing, and so I can kind of like listen while I'm doing it, which is really I'm grateful for.
Nice.
And so I have read a lot of books. I have read 24 books this year.
Nice.
So I'm gonna do a high, I'm gonna do a low,
Okay.
and I'm gonna start with the low because I really don't like this book. I don't know. I've probably talked to you about it before, but Moby Dick.
Classic.
My God, I hate this book. I do not like this book whatsoever. I thought I had a least favorite book that I've ever read, and it was 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Heck no.
And
it's a big
guess
old
what?
whale.
Guess what? It's the big old whale. And apparently I have a thing against the ocean because both those books are set on the ocean. It's just like... dude, I don't care. I don't care about your freaking whale. I don't care about, like, they're on the ocean. They're like, yo, you want to talk about, like, the history of whales for a while? No, not really. It's like, whaling is the greatest thing of all time. Like, sure, I guess. And they're like, you know what maritime law is? I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to spend 2 chapters talking about it. And then, I don't know, man. It's just like, there are points, there's points where like he goes into like different species of whales, and that's not even what I'm griping about.
Kind of feels like you are.
There's a part where like he talks about like the nose of the whale, and then he talks about noses of other things and like why the whale nose is the best. And I'm like,
This guy really likes whales.
yeah, I don't care. I don't care. I just kept. I had to listen to only like 20 minutes a day because like I kept saying to myself, I don't care. I don't care. And this actually got me into a topic I did want to talk about. And I listened to this book at like 1.4 speed. Mm-hmm. So I listened to it faster because I did not care. But I also could understand what was being said, but at a little bit faster time because it kind of took up the breaks that happen in an audiobook. That's like they talk and then they go on to the next word. And so I found that not 1.5 was a little too fast, but 1.4, I could do it. And so what does that like, because I was a purist and I've heard other people doing it at faster speeds, and I kind of was like negative about it. But now, I'm not so negative about it.
Not so negative. Yeah, I think it depends. I think it probably also depends on like who your voice actor is, you know?
Mm-hmm. It does.
Like I would not speed up like Impact Winter.
No, because that's a performance.
You know,
yeah,
like,
that's like...
but if like I was reading a C.S. Lewis book, I actually might slow it down because like sometimes British like voice actors to me sound faster just default. And so I think it's totally fine to, if you're feeling it, like you kind of know I think it's also one of those things when you already kind of know
what's
the
going
basic
on.
gist.
Yeah.
It's also just like, all right, let's just get there. Like, you know, I've heard some people who actually speed read by only reading like every third word. And then they just kind of like piece together what that sentence is because your brain's kind of smart enough to do that after a while. I don't know,
That's
man.
pretty nuts.
I think if anyone cares enough to judge you based on how you consume a book, that person has so much privilege in their life that they should probably reconsider a lot of things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're not going to, I mean, unless it's me, then you should definitely like...
You should listen to whatever Nick says.
Yeah. But, dude, who cares?
Yeah. I was just interested because I may have been in that position.
Yeah, and I would have said, who cares, man? Let me have fun.
I know, yeah, that's the thing. It's like
we've kind of started doing this in some of our board game nights. We play a specific campaign game, Frosthaven, where we've kind of been like, let's just kind of house rule some of these things because the maximum amount of fun is more important
than getting the
like
rules
being right.
Yeah.
And while that might break some things down the line, we can probably autocorrect or whatever. But like, just have fun.
Yeah.
If you like need to be like, this chapter is really boring, I'm gonna look up the Spark notes to be like, what's the main thing? Okay, I'm gonna skip this chapter. Who cares?
Wow, Nick,
encouraging. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
dude, I got you, dog.
I ain't even tripping because I got my dog.
Listen, if I've learned one thing over the course of my life, say you're not gonna please anyone. So why even try pleasing anyone? You know what I mean?
Wow, is that a reference?
No.
Oh, okay, cool.
I just think, come on.
Like, do your
just come on. People care too much about things that they shouldn't, and care too little about things they should.
Wow, there you go. That's
How about
pretty
that?
Good.
Eat your heart out, Charles Dickens.
Wow. Is that a reference for Charles?
I don't know.
Maybe. You're an author. You're incredible.
I don't know. I read books too fast.
Yeah,
I put them on 1.4, and it's like,
I can't understand.
Was that Charles Dickens? I don't know. I didn't catch it.
But that's an interesting point because I've only done it with books that I was halfway through, or a sequel to
you've
something.
already kind of had like the snowball.
Yeah, like I know what's going on.
You're rolling downhill.
I haven't done it with
done.
something that's complete. Actually, No, that's not. That's a lie. I did it with
sped up.
something fresh.
I sped up on Dune.
Yeah, I did with Children of Dune.
Yep.
So,
That's a good voice actor to do it on because
Yeah.
he does he leans in.
yeah, I love it. Shai Halud, Muad'Dib. He's great. I love that man.
Oh, yeah.
that voice actor is so good.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about Dune for a second? Because I finished Children of Dune.
Yes. Yeah, because you can't really share your thoughts too much without spoiling it.
But I can say I enjoyed it a lot.
Good.
I think it is hard for certain aspects, and I can't get into spoilers, but I liked where Messiah left off, the second Dune book.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is a good book, and I think it's interesting because now I agree with the people that are saying, like, Dune 1 and 2, that's all you really need to read.
100%.
I agree with that. Like, you don't particularly need Children of
more
Dune.
stuff. Yeah.
But I enjoyed enough that I want to keep going.
Yeah. I think building out the world, great, but it does seem like the first two were really figured out to be like, Paul, we're going to take care of you, my guy.
This is the story.
And now, here's just what would continue to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Thing I like about Children of Dune, I like the idea that Arrakis is being so well taken care of that it's actually starting to be terraformed,
Mm-hmm.
and that's actually causing
Hurting,
negative things.
Mm-hmm.
In the fact that the sandworms aren't habitable
cross
to
water.
Yeah.
I said that 5 times in that book.
Yes, the sand trout. Yes. I like the discussion of the effects of spice on how these kids were affected as
developmentally, as babies in the womb, you know,
and how they can kind of retain thoughts and almost consciousness of past relatives.
Mm-hmm.
It's just crazy to think about. What we would see this as later on would be Force ghosts in Star Wars, but they're not sitting there in your head, but you can see them and be like, hey, what's up? It's good to know you're still with us. This is what if they could talk to you? You have the voices of past lives in your head.
So this brings me to my topic of Dune versus Star Wars. The never-ending topic that has been brought to my light because Dune.
Yeah.
This does The Rise of Skywalker better.
Yeah.
This I feel is so not close to Rise of Skywalker, but the idea of generational war and villains of past times
Yep.
coming back. And this is just the better version of that.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
Sick. I'm glad you're coming over to the dark side.
Yeah. Yeah.
I told some of my friends, I was like, I can't, because one of my buddies hasn't watched Dune. He's like, you know what? I'm finally going to do it. I'm like, great. Maybe you'll finally be like me and you'll stop liking Star Wars after watching.
I'm not saying I don't like Star Wars.
Yeah,
and I'm thinking there's
it's fine. We'll
no. There's a bigger sandbox.
Oh, let's
In
just
Star
say
Wars.
Michael hates this.
No,
Star Wars.
stop it.
Okay.
Stop it. Stop putting the gongjibah. It's just I was thinking about this a lot. Star Wars is definitely way more commercial for the masses. They're like, you got starships, you got all this stuff. Dune is you want to sit in a room and talk about
Dune is the Batman, and Star Wars is the Dark Knight.
Whoa, interesting. Except both Dark Knight and Batman are good, and Dune and Star Wars, maybe both of them aren't so good. Whoa.
Well,
because
Star
now
Wars
I
at its
hate
peak
Star
and
Wars.
Dune at its
I'm the guy that
He
hates
hates
Star Wars.
You
That's
heard it.
me.
You heard it.
It's me. No, I'm just kidding. Whoa.
We've been doing this too long.
I think we can wrap up the show. Unless you have any other books you want to say. I might scroll through. And, real quick. I'm reading Brandon Sanderson series. the Stormlight Archives.
Nice.
The first one, The Way of Kings. Man, these are big books.
Yeah.
But very good. It's like if you like Game of Thrones, it's Game of Thrones but with way less nudity. So
Hey. Classic.
yeah.
What's the magic system in Stormlight Archives?
Like very. I want to say light, but not like they have like these magical swords. So like, but only certain people can have them.
Hell yeah.
And there's like they're fighting over like certain artifacts. So not everyone's magical, but only certain people are. And some of the characters that we follow are like, oh, you're maybe magical, you might not be.
Got it.
But the sword is really cool because you stretch your hand out and it takes like 10 heartbeats to get to appear.
Whoa.
And so it's like when you're in like the fray of like it's always 10 heartbeats no matter what. And so like the faster your heart's beating, the more it'll appear. But like only certain people like have the swords and have like this special armor. But we follow like them, but we also follow like some like kind of like more like lower class people, and we follow like one girl who's like trying to train in like sorcery stuff ish. So it's a magic system that definitely the first book touches, and we're gonna get into a lot more in the second one.
Got it.
But it's very good, but it's a daunting like these are like I think there's like 4 or 5 of them books. And they're like
beefy.
Yeah, they're like 40 hours on Audible. They are big.
Fair enough.
So, but I would recommend.
Sounds good.
But anyways, I've been enjoying reading a lot.
Good. I'm glad.
Almost as much as I have been enjoying doing this podcast with you, Nick.
Well, I'm not going to say anything because that was awesome.
Thank you.
And I mean, I love you and doing this podcast.
Thank you.
with you.
Cool.
Sorry, I just meant like you were so eloquent that I'm like, don't ruin this.
I understood
Don't
that.
say
Yeah.
Dune again. But yeah, we just knew we are in a season of chaotic amounts of movies, and so we just wanted to take a little breath, be like, hey, the dawn is coming.
Heard, Chef.
And it's time to round this corner, Chef. And Barbenheimer is going to change our lives. There is going to be a pre-Barbenheimer and a post-Barbenheimer.
Post-Barbenheimer.
Not us United. So, anyway, thanks for tuning in, talking to us.
Yeah.
Not us United.
That's right.
All right. We'll see you guys later.
You want to talk about Dune for 45 minutes?
Dude, I would like to talk about it forever.
You've just listened to Not Us United. You can find us under Not Us United on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube. Please leave us a review and consider subscribing to our podcast. You can reach out for future podcast topic suggestions at notusunitedpod@gmail.com.